Greetings, CBC, and welcome to this week's Sunday warm-up. I want to just remind us of a few things as we get started still into just the second week of this series now. If you haven't already, certainly watch last week's sermon, get the notes, go through that first part of Romans, the last part of Romans, looking for what are the major themes that we're going to see throughout the letter. This week we're going to add just a little bit more in terms of some of the background, the context, the themes of this book. Again, maybe seeking a little more clarity towards or a further understanding of what the thesis, a main kind of thought and statement is in this letter. So still a little more of a general overview as we're getting started. And then in the following Sunday and from there on out, we'll be looking at each week specifics related to what is the message of the gospel and the application of the gospel as we respond to it. So in prep for this series and as we continue on, again, I would encourage, if you haven't done it yet, to read all of the letter of Romans. One setting if possible, or 2-3 settings. Read it out loud. Get a group of people together within your house. Read it out loud. Take notes, highlight, just a variety of different ways to be able to really engage and immerse ourselves in this letter. As we look week by week, we're going to be looking at smaller sections. Since we're taking about 7 months to do this, we're going to look at smaller sections. So certainly, for instance, this week with the passage before us, I would just take that passage and reread it over and over again. A passage like this week's is, you could write it out, take it with you, carry it with you, take a picture of it, have it on your phone, screenshot it, just ways in which we can constantly be bringing it up, be reading it, studying it, asking questions of it. So that being said, for this week, we're looking at Romans chapter 1, verses 8 to 17. Romans chapter 1, verses 8 to 17. Verses 8 to 15 will give us a little bit more of the background in terms of some of the things with the letter, some of the things regarding Paul's heart and Paul's calling. And so alongside that, check out Acts 9 as a reminder, a refresher, or maybe for the first time hearing about the Apostle Paul's call. And then also Galatians chapter 1 to 3. Most likely Sunday we will not refer to Acts 9 as far as in the sermon, but I will be looking at some samplings from areas in Galatians 1 to 3 to go along with what we are studying and seeing in Romans 1 this week. So that's verses 8 to 15, dealing a little bit with Paul's letter to this church and some of that, some of the things about Paul and about what his hope is for this letter and to see this particular church at some point in his future at that time. And then the latter part, the main focus for us this week, are on verses 16 to 17. Really a powerful couple of verses there, talking about how Paul is saying he's not ashamed of the gospel. I've already done it. I would encourage you just to bullet point everything he says there in verses 16 to 17. Spend time thinking about how the gospel is the power of God for salvation and what's being said there and what that means. Those two verses there, in particular verse 17, that was that powerful moment for Martin Luther in his life and wrestling with this text that really led to a lot of things of where the church is at today and in our beliefs. So very, very important and powerful portion of this letter as we begin and for us as we study. So that's it for this week. Romans 1, 8 to 17. Let's immerse ourselves in the text. Spend time being prayerful about it. Prayer for our time together as we gather. And even also as we're preparing to get into what would maybe be more considered the real meat and weight of the work that we have before us over the next 7 months to immerse ourselves in this letter. So God bless you. Have a wonderful week. I'll see you on Sunday.